The Wild Robot. Bought this in 4K, and like always, please buy 4K movies. They are fantastic. They look so pretty. This was a gorgeous movie to watch in 4K. I cannot recommend enough the format, and I would really just like to see more people buying physical media in general. If you can get a Blu-ray or something, like that's always just good. Just buy the Blu-ray. But if you can afford and have a way to play it, buy the 4K. It's absolutely worth every penny that you spend on this. This was like $25, like absolutely worth it. With that being said, let's talk about the movie. Also, if you have a PlayStation 5, which like, come on, it's been a couple years. If you probably have a PS5 by now, right? If you have a PS5 plays 4K. So you have a 4K player, buy the movie. Fantastic. Looks so good. With that being said, let's talk about the actual movie. The Wild Robot stars Lupita Nyong'o. That's Swahili. I do not speak Swahili, so I'm going to play this into the microphone so that you can hear how it's actually pronounced, but I did my best. I tried.
Lupita Nyong'o.
I think I had like a C- job. I think I did okay, though. That's passing. Passing is good. That's what we're looking for here. She plays Roz, the robot in the Wild Robot. And she's doing a fantastic job. We have Fink the Red Fox, played by Pedro Pascal, and we have Kit Connor playing Bright Bill. There's also some other people like Catherine O'Hara and Mark Hamill in this movie, but we're not going to go over everyone in the movie. But the voice cast, just as a whole, is really good. And as for the movie itself, it's honestly probably one of the best DreamWorks movies I think I've ever seen. While not everything that they do is amazing, they do have a good amount of movies. Things like Ants, Road to El Dorado, Chicken Run, all the Shrek movies, obviously, Madagascar, How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda, Wallace and Gromit, Captain Underpants, and Puss in Boots. These are all great movies and series. So it's not like DreamWorks is bad at doing this, right? They make a lot of really good stuff. However, most of their stuff is, I feel, more surface level. Like, yeah, Ants is a really good... Like, Ants is a fantastic movie, a wonderful movie. We might touch on that one day. We'll see. But for the most part, like, the Shrek movies, the Madagascar movies, they're all pretty just surface-level kids' fun comedy movies, right? And to be fair, The Wild Robot isn't that much different. But I don't know, something about this movie just really stuck. It definitely had a more emotional feel to it, and I don't know, it was giving more Pixar, in my opinion, as opposed to some of the previous DreamWorks movies I've seen. When I was watching it, it felt kind of like a Bambi meets WALL-E. Like, it was a really good movie, and I'm really glad that I bought this, actually. I was gonna just stream it. It is streaming on Peacock, and like, if you have Peacock, watch that, I guess. But like, I don't know, I'm really glad I bought this. This is a really good movie. I heard prior that it was really good. I wanted to go see it in theaters and just didn't have the time to do so. Let's touch on the plot of the movie real quick. A company called Rosum is creating robots that kind of help you with your day-to-day life, and one of them is washed up on an island, and it obviously can't communicate with anything. It's looking for tasks to complete, but it can't communicate, so it can't find tasks. And the first few minutes of the movie is spent showing it, get attacked by animals, because what is this thing, right? So it's eventually stops and just waits to learn the language of the animals, which I thought was actually pretty cute, because before that point, the animals make all kinds of noise, but they can't talk. From that point on, this is like a way to show the animals talking, but without, like, they speak, right? Like, I don't know, it was interesting to see. It opened up that communication line. It was a really neat idea. So after learning the language, none of the animals like Roz anyway, and it fumbles its way through life for a little while. Trying to find something to do. It starts printing stickers out on and stickering everything. It's fun. It's a lot of fun in the opening. But eventually, Roz falls off a cliff and crushes a tree which had a bird in it, killing the bird and crushing all of the eggs. And they all died. That's how nature works. But there was one egg left, and that egg was Bright Bill. So it realizes that it needs to take care of Bright Bill, so it does that. And all this time, Roz is learning. So that's something that you'll see continuously throughout the movie, is Roz learns and overwrites its programming throughout. So Roz raises the egg. Once the egg hatches, it thinks its job's complete, but it's not, because the baby being born isn't the end of the line. You have to take care of the baby. So that's what Roz does, and it starts taking care of the child sort of, kind of poorly. We're introduced to Fink, and Fink is really just trying to eat the bird, but eventually decides to help Roz, and Roz feeds Fink. So they work together, and they kind of form a little family, and the goal here for Roz is feed the baby, teach it to swim, teach it to fly, because that's what the bird needs to do. So Bright Bill is fed, eventually. They figure out it eats worms, and they feed it. And then they slowly try to teach it to swim, but Roz only knows how to swim when teaching a human, so it's struggling to teach the bird how to swim. And then eventually it needs to teach the bird how to fly, and it's hard to teach Bright Bill how to fly when they obviously neither one of them can fly. And that's basically the main conflict of the movie here, is teaching Bright Bill how to do things and what needs to happen, right? And it's bullied by the other birds because, it's being raised by a robot. And then you have the emotional conflict from that point on. But I don't want to give too much away from the movie. So that's the first half of the movie. The back half is just kind of the results of all of this. So, I don't want to give the whole movie away. It is a relatively new movie. But with that being said, the movie is fantastic. It is incredibly beautiful to watch. It looks amazing. Again, I watched the 4K version, but I'm sure it looks really pretty on streaming or whatever as well. It's just beautifully animated. The movie itself is really good. I think it makes both a really good kids movie, but it was fun to watch even as an adult, which I think is really good. I think that's something that kids movies do need to be sort of cognizant of, is kids aren't the only ones watching these movies. A lot of times, obviously the parent has to watch them with them, or, sort of has to watch it with them. Like, if you take a kid to a theater, the parent's going to be there, or an adult is going to be there, so you want to make it kind of interesting for both. And I think this movie does a really good job with that. And to be fair, that's something that DreamWorks is pretty good at doing anyway. That being said, definitely go watch The Wild Robot. I cannot recommend this movie enough. It was a great movie, and one of my favorites that I've watched so far this year, and honestly, it might end up being one of my favorite movies of 2024. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.